What mic can they choose? Are y'all both? Just you get on the mic, or both of y'all?
I really don't care.
Yeah.
You want to talk? You
Um,
can.
I mean,
It'll
I
be
guess.
weird for you not to talk, kind of.
What you want to do?
I don't care.
I mean, I guess it would be awkward because I don't have like. I mean, I guess I could do it if you want to talk. I could tie it into like both of y'all. Or you just want to let her talk.
We fine. It's fine.
All right. You want to use headphones or not? You don't have to.
I want to feel cool.
All right.
Pull that mic closer.
Oh yeah, you gotta kind of be up on it.
You gonna be on? Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, mic check, mic check.
Yo.
Hello, hello, hello. Bakari G.
Make sure your phone's in airplane mode.
Oh yeah, I always forget that. But there's Wi-Fi if y'all want to use Wi-Fi. I don't know the password. I never remember.
It's all good.
I think it's. Let me see. Yeah, if you choose the Regis one, I think it'll just connect by itself. Um,
My phone is missing.
Probably in jacket.
I think we're ready whenever you are, Matt. Check, check, check. If you're hearing the sound of my voice, that means you're now tuned into chapter 74 of the Introverted Intuition podcast. My name is Jeff, aka the Petty Podcaster. It's just me today. My other three co-hosts are somehow all got the flu at the same time, which is kind of a bummer, but it's all good. I don't think we all would have fit in here anyways. But across from me, I have two special guests. Introduce yourself to the people for the ones who don't know you.
Okay, my name is Brianna Garrick. I go by Bakari as well.
I thought you was gonna say a little bit more than that. My name is Elijah. I go by Anubis Sounds.
And you two are a couple, a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been together?
For a minute,
4
3-4 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's like been the hardest part about being together that long?
The world.
The
The
world.
love part came easy, but the world, financial stuff.
I could definitely say that, we live together.
Oh,
So
dope.
just that dynamic is a little bit different than just seeing somebody sparingly.
I wonder about like the living together experience because I'm kind of in that transition.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, like, what do y'all do to like detach from each other after like a long day? Do y'all just go in separate rooms?
Literally, what I was just about to say. We both do our own thing. I'm like a super independent spirit, so
Dope.
I'm like always reading something into something, and you feel me. She's an artist as well too, so we're just always doing something different. Like we live together, so it's like if something's on that we want to watch, or we hear about something that we want to like collaboratively watch, that's what we do. But
Word.
it's nothing to be like pressed about.
Okay. I'm hoping to get my own little space, my own little room if I can.
It's nice.
Yes,
It's
that's I
nice.
was saying. We actually do have an extra room that we're gonna set up, and I'm like, yeah, you could play your PlayStation over there.
Oh, that's what I need, man.
So I
Kingdom
could
Hearts 3 just
have-
came out.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't even have a system right now, so I'm hurting.
Bro, you're missing out, bro. I'm
I
telling you.
know. Wait, never mind. Let me not get into video game talk right
We,
now.
we could get into it later. We got time. We got time. What's y'all history with podcasts? Like, do y'all listen to podcasts in your free time?
I do. I just started getting into podcasts just last year, late last year. Someone introduced me to a wolf podcast. It was about a wolf woman. She calls it La Loba podcast. It's spiritual. And I was listening to other podcasts for financial guidance, and podcasts are pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty interesting topics. It's all about the energy in the podcast, really. If the people seem interested and they have good energy, I feel like that's what really draws you to want to listen to. It's all about like what the chemistry is, during the podcast.
Right. I do, like I mentioned, I do this with 3 other people. So like I bounce between having guests and doing it with them. The energy's definitely different. I feel more pressure when it's a guest because I feel like I'm meeting them for the first time, right? So I have to conduct an interview, make it informative, but I'm just my friends talking shit. It's a bit easier. So the energy is definitely different. What's your experience with podcasts like?
A couple of my friends started podcasts like I want to say like 2-3 years ago. So I can't say I'm a fan of them, but I do like the ones that I've listened to. Like my homie Wolf Juice, he used to talk about like anime in his old podcasts and stuff, and then also get into hip hop or just like the culture going on in Jersey. And then sometimes you got the people that just bullshit want to talk about what's like relevant on the internet or whatever, and like that's cool too as long as it's entertaining, you know.
Word.
But I can't say I'm a big podcast person now, but like a friend of mine is supposed to be dropping one tonight, ironically. So I'm gonna try now. We're talking about podcasts, so I'm gonna definitely try to listen to it. You know.
Yeah, some of the long-winded ones I feel people kind of check out of. Some people probably prefer like the 30-minute, 45-minute ones, but these usually go for like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
People's attention spans, even mine, I can admit I've been working on it, but I noticed that my attention span for things has shortened.
Okay.
It definitely has shortened, and now that I'm in school, I'm noticing that it's building up again. I can work on things way more diligently than I was doing before. But just sitting down and really concentrating on listening to something without any visuals, that's a different concentration for people.
Very true.
Me, so.
That's why we record it too. So like, just in case for those people, we have a YouTube channel for that. So
right.
What are you in school for?
I'm a theater major, performance. So I sing, act, dance.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you where did that interest start? Like when you were younger? Or?
Actually, I always sang. I was, I grew up in the church, like every other, Black person story. Oh, I grew up in the church. But it was really when I moved to Jersey and I came to Elizabeth High School. And I always say that school reminded me of like Lean On Me. I was like, what the hell? Because I was going to Catholic school my whole life. So it was just a big culture shock. And I was definitely, I didn't have any outlet, so I was like disruptive in class and stuff. So I had this one teacher when it turned into a performing arts school. She said she was doing this musical, and I auditioned for it. She actually couldn't stand my guts. She was like, "What the fuck? Like, I'm not. I don't want this girl in my show." But I opened my mouth, and she was like, "Oh my God." She kind of like took me under her wing after that, and then she introduced me to the theater life. And I've always thought theater. When I think theater, I think of white. I didn't think I had a place there, to be honest. But the show that she chose was originally an opera, but she was doing a rendition of it that it was called like Hot Mikado. It was originally called Mikado, but this one was called Hot Mikado, and it was just like I was this villain, Kadisha, and they kind of like remade the opera song to like fit my voice, and I was like, oh snap, like I could actually do this. And that's when I kind of started getting into theater performance and thinking like I could do this as a career, because I've always worried about, getting paid or being in the industry. It's not really something that I wanted to. The music industry,
right,
is not something that I've ever really wanted to dive into.
That's interesting because I was introduced to your music first, and I'm hearing about your theater background second. That's what I was really interested in mostly. When did you have the confidence to pursue these? Like, was it like the teacher taking it under your wing, or was it just like you looked in yourself in the mirror, was like, okay, I could do this?
It grew over time. 10th grade, I would say I got a lot of coaching from them because I lacked a lot of confidence. Even still to this day, I'm still working on confidence. A lot of people, they get surprised when I say stuff like that because I come off as a confident being, but I do. I fight a lot of internal wars. But anyway, I noticed my senior year, I got the lead role for this production called Aida. And that's when I really gained my confidence, and I was like, I want to do this. And when I was studying for the musical production, I was studying Heather Headley. And I don't know if you know who she is. She's the one who sings, "In my mind, I'll always be his lady."
That sounds familiar. I don't know.
Well,
I didn't recall the name. That
I don't know another song.
Heather Headley. She, okay. So she's an independent artist, and then she's also on Broadway. She's played Nala on Lion King. She's been in Color Purple. So she's done all of these things, and I'm like, wow, she kind of bridges the entertainment industry and theater, and I'm like, I would love to do that because I feel like I can do both.
Does one come before the other, or is it just whatever opportunity comes first, you'll go full force in it?
Whatever opportunity comes first.
Okay.
I do feel like theater has helped me with the training aspect. I feel like I'm naturally an artist and this is what I feel and this is what I express, but in terms of like the training with my vocals and just everything, I've gotten that from theater. And I've kind of used that to kind of figure out what my own voice is and what my own art is, and what Bakari is. So theater is kind of my foundation in terms of what I'm blossoming to.
What does Bakari, does it mean anything specific, or is it like just
Actually
alter
means
ego?
it means promising, but it's not an alter. I don't want to even say it's an alter ego. It was a name given to me by a ex-friend, and I kind of just adapted it when I became a bartender because people were like, "Oh, your name's Bakari, like Bacardi," and I don't know.
They probably got you all the tips.
Right. It was a good upsell. So I kept it, and then a lot of people just like the name. They feel like I looked like a Bakari, so I kind of just like, okay, I kind of like the name. I'll take it. And I've grown to really love the name Bakari. I feel like Bakari is like the fabulous me. The fabulous Brianna.
So it's not like a nickname. It is you. It's just another.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I wish I
part
had
of me.
something like that. I crave something like that. Just going by Jeff is just like so plain. That's why I deem myself the petty podcaster. But I feel like you can't give yourself a nickname. Someone has to give it to you.
That's
Somebody
true.
gotta call you.
That's true. And it's funny because I didn't like it. It was something that my friend was telling people to call me. And I'm like, stop calling me that. Because it came from a caller ID. I got a new phone, and I had an Indian lady's name. Her name was Bakari Asame. And her mom, anytime I would call back in caller ID days, she would like, Bakari's calling. So she would tell other people, like, call Brie Bakari. And I was like, my name's Brianna. But then over time, you get tired of kind of being the Debbie Downer.
Right.
I'm like, whatever. They're going to keep calling me. They were enjoying that I didn't like it. So I had to just like it. And then here I am.
I'm trying to remember back when I first even got introduced to you. It was definitely through Twitter. I don't know. I guess one of your tweets just got reposted on my timeline, and then I was like, okay, that's dope. And I saw like two more. I was like, okay, that's dope. Then you hit follow. Then I saw the music, and I saw R&B Garden. I went through that project. Crumble was my favorite song on that project.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
really
you so much. Because, listen, I feel like no one... Go ahead. I ain't going to cut you off. Go ahead. Continue.
It took me back to my childhood a bit because Erykah Badu is my favorite artist of all time, and you just sounded just very reminiscent of her. That energy was very similar to me, and yeah, it's just really good. The music is undeniably good, so thank you for that.
That really warms my heart. Thank you, because Crumble is one of my favorite songs, to be honest. So, and before I dropped the song, I would send pieces of the song to like my friends and just be like, listen to this. It was unmixed. It was rough as hell, but they were not liking it. They're like, I don't know, Bree. This don't really go with the beat. I'm just like, I really like this song, and Crumble helped me develop, or I wouldn't say understand really what relationship I had with music and what I was going through in terms of finding who I was in my own voice and who Bakari was and who I was on my own without training or my mentor or my teacher around. So I play too much with just things, period, because I feel like I'm naturally good at them and I'm lazy. When that brings laziness for me. So I'm like, if I don't get it right the first time, I don't keep going. So the song is just me like, oh, let me crumble because I'm hard-headed as hell. But then at the end, I'm saying, don't let me crumble because I'm coming right back. I'm going to get my stuff together. So that's what that song is. And I really appreciate that you like that song. And that it reminds you of Erykah, my mom. She's on timeout right now. But
she's still on timeout for
she is on timeout for me. Mega on timeout.
What was it she said? Was it she was defensive R. Kelly?
She has said a couple of things, okay?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
She said too much. And as someone that I look up to, I will still hold her accountable. And she's definitely on timeout because she is playing devil's advocate and just speaking out of turn and just
I'd very much like to get into her a little bit later. Her, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, because there's some controversy pretty much around all of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
the whole industry.
Can you take me back to the process of making that project? Do you remember it at all? Like,
R&B Garden.
yeah.
It's interesting because I no longer work with that person that I did R&B Garden with, but it actually took me. I had a little hard time recording R&B Garden because I wanted to work with this one specific person, and they were just I don't know what to. They were caught up in their own credentials and what they could offer to me. And I knew that they could offer those things, but I still also knew that what I had to offer. And they were just kind of like testing to see like how serious I was all the time. Like when I would do meetups, like it was just a hard time getting the project to be finished. And it was just a lot of stuff. But it came out, and it wasn't the best project, but I was like, this is what, I've worked very hard. Some of the songs on there I made like 3 years ago.
Wow.
So, the little EP was cute. It did what it needed to do. I'm ready to like move on from it.
And put something new out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very ready to move on from, not move on, but that was like my foundation, like that I can do it, and now I'm just like ready to do it.
It's a different chapter in your life. You're just ready for the next.
Yes.
What's like your creative process like? Do you have to be in a certain time of day or certain mode, or
Yes, I have to be completely
sober,
present.
not sober?
It's so crazy. I've definitely made my songs high.
I came up with this podcast idea high. That logo high as fuck.
Definitely was high as hell. My room. My favorite way to make songs is just play the melody over and over, and whatever is coming to me, whatever I feel would, what I would want to hear listening to that song, whatever is just coming from my body. That's how I create the song, and then I add lyrics after. But I always start with a melody. And it's funny. I don't know if you listen to this song on R&B Garden, but the last song, "Root of the Garden."
Yeah.
Funny enough, I actually made that song just like improv dancing. You ever see in church where like the ladies, they're all dancing to the spirit, and it's kind of like they have like the flag and stuff. Like I was really doing that in my room.
You called the Holy Ghost?
No, something with the beat, just like, and I started crying, and I just started singing the song, like, and I just had like these words, and that's what I felt, and that was just the song. Like I made the song in like a minute with just me dancing. I was just like, what the hell? Like, what was that? But I've never had that experience with any other song that I've made. Like that was just that song, and I feel like that song out of all of them shows off my voice the most vocally.
Right.
So the process is fun.
You mentioned church more than once. Like, does that play any role into your music at all, or your life currently, like religion?
My family, my mom and my dad, they're not big religious people, but my grandparents are. And my uncle introduced me to church, and church was something that was like my escape from home because I got to sing, and they had a really big youth group. And what happened was my uncle was really close with the pastor, and they moved away, and I kind of started getting like mistreated because they kind of just left me there. So I ended up leaving and kind of resenting them. And then I went through this whole period of I don't even know if I was an atheist, but I was just like, fuck all of that. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about in this damn church. I'm like, I'm hearing the music, I feel the music, but something's off. Like, and I remember having a breakdown to my mom, a mental breakdown, because I'm like, when we die, what's gonna happen? I'm like, am I gonna turn into an apple? Like, just going through it, and I developed my own spirituality within myself. I noticed that when I did pray, it was working. So I'm like, what's that about? Like, there has to be some sort of higher power or something there has to be some sort of law of attraction or just anything in this universe that is bigger than us, because I am feeling like I do have guidance. Like, where is that coming from? So just digging into what was inside of me and trusting myself, I feel like I've developed my own sense of spirituality and kind of I wouldn't even say shun religion, but put it to the side as something more of knowledge, but not of a belief.
That energy you feel inside, do you do you look at yourself as a god in any form?
Oh yeah, I think I'm a god.
Yeah.
I know I'm a god, I should say. It's a process, And I don't think that I'm fully at my godliness. I feel like I'm working towards it, but I do have God in me, and I do recognize when other people have God in them too. And we're all gods.
Yeah, I believe that as well. Like I've
It's-
always questioned like the resistance that we get from I guess white people. I guess is
Mhm.
the main pushback we get, and I've just always thought that was just fear.
Mhm.
They're aware of our godliness as well, and I
And
just
also
believe
to say
they're
God.
fearful of it.
I feel like to say God, also people kind of look at you like who you think you are. Or
Yeah.
it could sound like you're a narcissist or anything like that. But it's really about we only have this one life to live. So to get what you need to get, only you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And so who else are you gonna have faith in? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to pull faith from something that's outside when it's in you. And that's just how I live. And it's been working a lot better for me from when I was confused or was, worried about if I'm sinning or if God is really hearing me. Just doubting myself. I have a lot more confidence in the way I trust myself. So.
When you two initially met, did you have like these same beliefs, and that was what brought you closer together, or was it like resistant, different opinions and views on this?
We definitely have a lot of difference of
I'm
opinions.
not a very religious person, so just exactly what she was saying about just being spiritual and just believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's having a lot of confidence in yourself and believing in your inner wisdom. Really, that's really where I align myself as opposed to being a religious person. I could definitely say I dropped off on the spiritual side. I had something that really like kind of changed my life, and it kind of had me fucked up for a little bit, but.
Was it something you saw or heard or?
Nah, my best friend had passed away. It's
Sorry to hear
just a couple of things that surrounded it. Nah, he's in a better place. It's a couple of things that surrounded it that had me like whoa, and I kind of had to take a step back. Just kind of, I had to look at both sides of the spectrum. You feel me? I am recognizing my godliness, but I'm not invincible. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't mean that I can't be hurt by anything at all. Just not being naive to the fact. But I could definitely say that we had this it's like annoyingly like psychic connection going on, like the finishing sentences, and it wouldn't even be on no like.
That's awesome.
It was so annoying at first. I'm like, are you trying to copy me? Because you know how I've always been I don't even want to say a male disliker, but I've never really been impressed by men, period, like my whole life. But I was just like, are you trying to? I never, that's just me. I'm a lot better now. But I'm like, are you trying to copy me? Because this is too good to be true.
But what was like the main selling point for him that really was like, okay, I could really fuck with this dude?
Well, he has so many people vouching for him because I was like, boy, I'm not talking to you. I was like, the chemistry is definitely there. Like, we're definitely like connecting. But I had came out of a abusive relationship like not too long ago when I met him. So it was just like I was kind of being scared. But what confirmed it for me? We were just on the same level. I think one day, the day that in my head and I was like, this is my boyfriend, but I didn't say anything. My friend called me and she's like, you go out with Elijah? And I'm like, I didn't know. Like, it was just weird because I was just thinking about it, like, man, this is my boyfriend. But, now my friend's asking. I'm like, And she's like, well, he just posted you. Like, that's bae. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. We on the same page.
That's dope.
We on the same page. And, yeah, so that's that.
Were you like a complete believer in her passions at first, like her theater aspirations and singing aspirations?
Oh, I make music myself, so I'm all for it. You feel me? I can't say I'm into theater, but just anything imaginative. Just seeing her on stage, the very first time I saw her perform, just seeing how imaginative people can be. You feel me? In theater. As opposed to me watching fucking anime 24/7, you know what I'm saying? Like how that's animated actually, and how like that's someone else's imagination. I was able to step outside of my box and able to see like someone else's like realm of imaginativeness. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Imagination is what I meant to say.
Could you either of you tell me one thing you've learned from each other as you've been together for 3 years? Was it?
I'm stubborn, and I could be very. I'm very technical, like I'm annoyingly
Like
technical.
meticulous?
Yeah. I'm admitting I can admit that too, and I could be not really. I can't really say now. Like more so in the past, I could be condescending sometimes,
Hmm.
but she really taught me how to shut the fuck up and just like listen to people and not just listen to them, but really like understand what they're saying. And even if I do feel even if I do feel differently, to still be able to understand and listen and not just listen to respond. You know what I'm saying? Listen to understand. You know what I'm saying?
There's definitely a lot of shit that should be ignored though. Like a lot of shit that people say, we should just
No,
brush it to the side.
yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, that's the
But
thing.
he got
Like
that
I'm
part down
honest.
pat.
Like I'm honest. Like I won't.
He got that part.
If I feel strongly about something and there's like a disagreement going on, I feel like we, not even just me, we got stronger in just being like, okay, let's break this down for a second and really like discuss this, you know, because I mean, people human, like we get into like everybody gets into arguments with people, but just being able to break that down and have a conversation afterwards, you feel me, or even just being able to talk about it to understand each other during. I feel like that was just really important. And even I could say on the other side, before I never used to argue with people, like, or I never used to feel like people to. I wanted people to hear what I had to say. I used to just shut up, and it was kind of a bane on my side because then people don't get to understand my perspective. So
Were you shy or?
I could say it was a mix of shy and I could say it was just shy. I could say it was just shy. I was trying to think of another word, but just not feeling like everything you have to say is the right thing. Like I grew up not really feeling like everything I had to say was the right thing. So I kind of taught myself to really shudder at confrontation, and I'd just be like, okay, whatever. Like, you got it, you win type shit. But it's not like that anymore. It definitely says she helped me with that.
That's dope.
Shit.
Just being expressive too.
He's
I
like,
could
made
definitely
me,
relate to that.
Shoot. I see. Okay. We're very similar, but we're also like polar opposites in like the most interesting ways because he's social in different ways than I'm social. So I feel like I'm a little bit more sheltered with people, and sheltered with myself, I should say, and not so open. And I could be judgmental, and he's not. He's like not judgmental. So I'm like, what is this? Like when our opinions come together, it's like a little spar all the time, and I kind of like it. Like he likes it too, so it works. So but he's just taught me how to be a better person overall, like because I admired that he was like so open-minded and not judgmental. Like that was really cool to me because that's the opposite of what I am. So just opening my brain to more just like relaxing. Like I feel like I got a lot more calm when I met him because I have this niche, I should say, with like studying people, and I was noticing how when I would complain about other people, when I would have like issues with them, it was now reflecting in my relationship. So I'm like, okay, he's definitely he's showing me exactly like what I need to improve on, you know, in terms of like where I'm lacking, and no one has been able to do because I don't listen. I'm hard-headed as well. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we reflect each other, but we're also like opposites. So everything that I'm teaching him, it's like, listen, bro, like I actually understand you because I act the damn same way. Can you just listen, be quiet? Because these are what people are telling me. But now I get to see myself in another light, in another body, and it's you. So it's cool. In terms of just like the self-improvement and the self-growth thing, he's like I would say that he's like the healthiest relationship I've had with anyone. Like, and that's big because, you know, you have your mom, your dad,
family,
even my grandma, but I wouldn't even say that those relationships are really the healthiest because there's some gaps in communication because, you know, just generational.
And understanding as well. Yeah,
exactly. And he's like right there. So.
And it's just like how you say you're in a relationship, like just with your lover, you don't want to speak. I naturally don't speak with my ego. You feel me? I don't speak with my chest puffed out.
Never.
But just with your lover, you just don't want to even take it there. You want to always be speaking to them for like understanding or whatever. And just like what she said, like that should just just being two hard-headed people and being able to step back for a second and go, all right, let's have a real ass discussion about this. Because some people like to do the whole, oh, we just talk about it tomorrow. When you let shit fester, like I always think of shit like sit in water, like that creates mosquitoes. Like mosquitoes lay eggs in city water. You feel me? So you don't want to create an environment for shit like that for pests. So you always want to hash it out as soon as you
He started this new thing this year where like if we get into like a little bicker, he'll he'll come and kiss me at the end, and I'll just be looking at him like. But it really helps with just especially when you live with someone.
Right.
You don't want to, everyone wants to talk about the good stuff and the love, the happy, good parts of the relationship, but they never want to talk about like the awkward situations when it's like, we just bickered. Now I don't even want to see you, bro. Like, you're in my face.
Like when I just little stuff too. Like when I first told her that I really just only watch anime. No, some people probably think it's a joke. Like when people, I watch anime. No, I really watch anime.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
so when you say your favorite anime, it's not just Dragon Ball Z.
Nah.
He's
all right. Thank you. I was worried.
Avid anime watcher.
We're gonna get into that.
It's not a game,
bro.
It's not a game.
What's your favorite? You have one?
Man, I could say the one that gave me everything, not just like action and shit. It was some political innuendos in there. Gundam 00. I usually don't look for Gundam series to be my favorite, but that one was just perfect. Like, it's just the way it mimicked a lot of the things that go on in real life in a political system. As far as different countries fighting wars for resources, but telling people that it's for something else, for the greater good and shit. And then you have this like subversive group that comes in and they want to stop all war, but they're being violent as well. So all the attention is focused on them. I won't get into the whole thing right now, but it's interesting.
It's funny that you're relating the anime to politics, because just today we were going back and forth about how he chooses to watch fantasy. Like, we were talking about our differences and what we choose to watch, like, on our free time. Like, me, I'm interested in what other people. Okay, let me just say this for the record. As a theater person, as an actress, as a performer, as someone who's been behind the scenes for TV production, I just look at movies and films differently, and I get bored very easily because I can predict the story. And once I predict the story, I'm like, my attention span is, in and out. So when
I make it so easy.
It's just like, and then it's getting worse. I feel like it's not getting better. Like the movies and this film.
Only good movies are the superhero movies.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, even
last year
then,
there was a few other good ones. Like If Bill Street Could Talk, I love that.
Oh my God, I just saw that yesterday. That was so beautiful. Can we please talk about that?
We can, yeah.
Oh my God.
What do you want to say?
I'm sorry.
I didn't like the ending.
Me either, but it's realistic. It's a realistic ending, and it's current. It's going on right now. The police situation. It's ironic that they put it in the 70s because it's right now.
Right.
But
the soundtrack literally brought me to tears. I downloaded it as soon as I left. Like when the music it lines up with every scene perfectly. It's not just a song just said for filler, and it just sounds perfect. Like that kills me every time. As far as the story, the pacing, I'm sorry, you speak. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. The film, I was gonna talk about that. The film, the the way it was shot. There were so many still shots. Like the film was not fast at all. There weren't a lot of film shots. And when I say that, I mean like you literally had to absorb the energy in the scene. So it almost felt like you were watching a little kid love story. You know how there's so many like still moments, but everything feels so slow in time because you're like in love and the person's like right in front of you. Like it was literally like this innocent story that I feel like they paint for other stories, but never really for Black love. So it was really refreshing to see because it was so innocent. And
it was everywhere, even between like the husband and the wife. And I mean, there's all aspects of Black love, not just the good side.
Oh, yes.
That movie is perfect.
It was. And just the dynamics of the family is I don't know if you realized how the boyfriend, what's his name now? I'm terrible with names.
I know the actor's real name. The white guy was in jail.
Yeah.
Stefan King, I think is his real name, something like that. I don't remember the name in the movie.
Wow. It's right at the tip of my tongue. Alvin?
No, it wasn't Alvin. I think it was like not Ronnie.
Alonzo. Alonzo was his first name. Lonnie. Okay, so Alonzo, Lonnie, or Fani. Whatever.
Fani. There you go.
Boom.
We got it. Fani.
I had to because that was going to annoy me. So Fonnie, his family, you notice how his mom was, grew up in the church. She was this church lady, and their hair was like pressed, and they had like their hair looked like white woman wigs back in the days in the 70s. It had like the little Shirley Temple flip. And then the girlfriend who's pregnant, her family, they had fros and they had the flare pants, and the dad was chill. And even though Lonnie got Fonnie, I can't, Alonzo, his name is Alonzo. When he got locked up, they were still, I'm Jamaican, so I can't do names. They when he got locked up, the father was still supportive. He's like,
Yeah.
my daughter is going to marry this man. Even though he's locked up right now, I'm still about to support my pregnant daughter. And that was just really, that made me cry. He was even helping his daughter while, she was having contractions. She didn't have really anyone because her mom, she's fighting the case. So it was just a lot of different aspects of love and relationships, and even her mom going to Puerto Rico and doing all of that for her. It was a nice light because I also feel like in the Black community, there's a strain between Black moms and their daughters. Specifically. Like I feel like it's common to see a Black mom supporting their son or going the extra mile for their son, but there's always some sort of turmoil or something that's off when it comes to their daughters.
Do you think it's like out of protection? Because they've seen and experienced like the life as a woman.
Yes, I think it's a cycle. I think it's a defense mechanism because, they blame themselves for certain things. So in return, they're, trying to protect you from these things, but it's really kind of like creating it, So, yeah, just the dynamics of love and the Black community and the family.
And you mentioned like the father, like he was like the supportive type.
Yeah.
I feel like it's usually painted as the opposite. Like the father would usually worry about the finances or who's the dude, or does he have a job? So that was refreshing to me. I mean, any type of relationship with a father is refreshing to me because I didn't grow up with one. So that's really what tugged at my heartstrings the most in that film.
We were talking about also after the movie. I saw it with my friends. They were talking about at the end when he told her, when she visited him in the jail cell and he was all beat up.
Yeah.
And he told her, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And that was like big for us because, I feel like a lot of couples, guys are dealing with like these issues that they feel like women don't understand, and the same women that are in their corner because they're not physically, like he was basically telling her like she didn't understand because she wasn't physically in jail and it was different for her, and she's telling him, she responded, I do understand, I'm with you. And just beforehand in the scene, you remember when the police officer came and saw them when he knocked the guy off of the girl?
Yes.
And the police officer was antagonizing him, and she protected him. That was her first instinct. And then he yells at her later, like, don't protect me. And she's like, you protected me. And he's like, it's different. And, just talking about, he was saying that that's ego.
I was thinking that in my head, yeah.
That's what it is.
It's ego that he was, like, dealing with that. But I was just, I feel like the love was so innocent. But once they were, like, facing the real world, all of these, adversity came about. And it was just cool and refreshing to kind of strip that part away and see it separately and then see how it affects and separates families. But it was still refreshing to see that, raw love, regardless of anything.
That injustice is still like very much present today. Either you unfortunately had to deal with any injustice, whether it be from the police or just strangers.
Fun fact, I've been arrested 3 times. It's not even funny. It's just coping mechanism. It's actually not funny at all. But my mom lives in Roselle Park City Line, which is like Elizabeth. It's predominantly a lot of Jewish people. I want to say there's like one other mixed family, but they have a curfew in New Jersey. Like you can't be outside past like 10 p.m.
I have no
if
idea.
you're under 18. Yeah, I didn't know either. I'm from New York, so I don't know.
Curfew.
Right.
I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Jersey, so I'm not sure.
Right. Raised in the Bronx, I came to Jersey. I'm like, what the hell? So the police officer stopped me one day when I was walking to the store, and he's just like, do you have any ID on you? And I didn't. And he said I looked underage, and it was a curfew, and he was going to take me in because he was like, where do you live? I'm like, I live on Colonia. So he didn't take me he didn't arrest me. He just put me in the car, but that was enough. And then the second time, it was another officer, and I kind of like went off because I'm like, yo, y'all keep asking me where I live. I live right there. Like, so why are y'all keep stopping me? Like, who else are you really stopping, in this neighborhood? Why can't I just walk without you guys, like, asking me where I live? Like, this is the second time. And he kind of didn't deserve that, but I was just pissed. Like, why are you, at that point in time, I think it happened, like, a month after that already happened. Right. Then the third time I really got arrested, and this was my mom's baby shower. So I was doing errands for her, and my mom lives off of a main street. So I guess the police officer was, like, about to pull me over, but he didn't realize, like, my house was, like, right there. So I literally just pulled into my driveway, and I got out not knowing. So he was like, oh, go back in the car. He was, like, acting like he was going to draw his gun. And then he comes up to the car, says that I have an obstruction of view. I had a daydream catcher on my mirror. And he was like, give me your license. So I gave him my license. He tells me my license is suspended, but it wasn't. I had a court note because something with the tickets in DMV. They're like, if you get stopped, accidentally show them this, and it will clear you. So I had that in my glove compartment. Gave it to him. He still tells me to step out the car. He's asking, like, what am I doing? Did I not see him, trying to pull me over? I said, no, by the time I saw you, I live right here. Like, I was just going into my driveway. He's like, well, yeah, that's failure to yield, just like popping off at the mouth. And he, like, starts going through my wallet. But he already told me to put my hands on the car. So when I'm talking, I talk with my hands. So he's like, oh, you need to put your hands on the car. I'm like, well, you shouldn't be going through my wallet. Like, what's the reason? And it was just a hot mess. So then he decides that my mom comes out. She's, like, a hot mess because she's getting ready for this baby shower. I have all these errands. And basically he tells her that he's arresting me for insubordination. And, like, he hit me with, like, 6 tickets.
Shit.
Right. And I end up going to court, and they dismissed, like, the arrest, of course. And they dismissed most of the tickets, and I just had to pay the obstruction of view for $40. So they did all of that to me, to pay $40 for the obstruction of view ticket.
I don't understand.
This is Roselle Park Police, by the way.
Yeah.
Just child, I know.
I don't understand. I don't have any. I've been arrested, but, like, I've been doing dumb shit with my friends. Like, I deserve to be in Los Angeles. Like, nothing crazy like that. But my experience with police is a little different. When I'm doing nothing wrong, I'm scared.
Gotcha.
I remember vividly driving to work one morning. I was driving the speed limit. I happened to notice the cop last minute. I got so fucking scared. Like, I have no idea why.
Because you just never know when they're going to, like, choose to mess with you. And like, 9 times out of 10, they're going to stop
examples,
you.
Yeah.
Especially if you think it, you're like, please don't. And it's, that sigh of relief when they're not following you or they're not going to stop you. Like, that's real.
Yeah. My stepfather is a dark-skinned black man, and I've been in the car with him a lot. When I was younger, he's gotten stopped a lot. So... And it pisses him. It used to piss him off. You feel me? Like that he even gets stopped. You feel me? Just for being a dark skinned black man. So, whenever I'm faced with a cop situation, just fuck seeing examples on the internet or reading about it. You feel me? Just being in front of them, it's kind of like a veil almost hits from the top of your head to your feet, and you're just like, this is uncomfortable, bro. Like, you kind of don't even want to have a conversation. Whatever you have to ask me, ask it quickly. I'm going to answer quickly so I can get the fuck on.
Yeah.
Like, we got stopped once coming out of a KFC because we decided to go to a Wendy's. And the cops stopped us literally because we pulled out of the KFC parking lot too fast. So we're like, all right, like, we gonna entertain you. We about to go to a party anyway. We don't got nothing in the car, Man... And when I say nothing in the car, I mean, my bad. When I say nothing in the car, I mean like bud and shit. But they tell us all to get out the car. I got on shorts, so he checks me. And he's like, "I really think you're hiding something." And I'm sarcastic, man. I'm like, "You want me to take my pants off?" like, you want to take my pants off, bro? Like, that's what you want to happen right now? And then he called me a smart ass, and I'm like, "Yo, I got on shorts right now, camo shorts. At that, you just checked all my pockets, bro." And he just kept on hassling us, and he ended up getting my boy for a bowl that he just got from Amsterdam Smoke Shop in New Brunswick.
Wow.
And it didn't have no resin in it or nothing, but he took him down to the station anyway, and we like, dog. So we went to the party and had to pick him up later, and it's just like, yo, pulling out of a KFC too fucking fast.
Right.
I bet, like, if we was a Tom, Bob, and Jane, we would have been good. You feel me? Like, pulling out of a KFC too
Yeah,
fast.
you can't do anything too fast. I mean, just the other day, I go to Kane University. My my stage husband was dropping me off at the train, and he was rushing because the train was coming. So he literally like skirt, like he pulled up right in front of the train station, and I want to say 5 cops pulled up behind us, and I'm running, and they're like running after me, and people on the platform are like, they're clapping for me because they see I made the train because it was really about to leave. But they're like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, it looked, I don't know. They made it seem like we were doing like a whole drug transaction when really I was just going for the train. And I asked him later, like, yo, they gave you a ticket? He was like, nah, they was just like, they searched his car.
Wow.
They were just like, oh, his headlight was out. That's why he called his team member, and that's why they followed him. It was just like there was literally no reason for them to pull up on us like that. It just made us look like crazy.
I was gonna say, if you did do a transaction, you were successful with that. 'Cause you made it on the train.
Right, and they were looking for me after. I'm like, did they really think I was really running for the train?
One thing I always noted about cops, when we think about these situations, it's not like individualist like efforts. It's the shit that they taught to profile and to harass people of black descent, or even or people of color. Honestly, like you don't even have to be black. You could be Mexican, you could be Guatemalan, you could be whatever. Shit, you could be Irish, like as long as you're not a part of that group that they don't want to discriminate. You feel me? You're just always subject to it, and not because, like I said, it's individualist effort, but because they're taught that shit. That's why I don't know. Like when it comes to police officers, the institution in itself, the union in itself is bad. Like you can have good people, but the union in itself is bad. So
It's
you could never
teaching
be a
them,
good cop.
yeah.
You feel me?
Right.
Like you'd have to break the whole
That's why
thing
people
down.
are like, my uncle's a cop. I'm like, yeah, your uncle
My
has
cousin
death
just
on
became
your
a cop,
hands.
honestly.
Like that they have a lot
I
of.
wouldn't like go to Thanksgiving like fuck you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not gonna go to Thanksgiving like fuck 12. But if we were to have a conversation, that's another thing too. I'm not gonna be like, hey man, you a cop now, so I can't be around you. But it's like if we were to ever have a conversation of anything revolving around cops discriminating against people, I mean he's a lighter skinned Spanish kid, but he's still Spanish. So I'm like, come on, man, you don't even deal with the same shit we deal with, but you know what it's like because you grew up with us. So he could never. There's facts that he could never deny. There's truths that he could never deny. So
it's just a lot of blood on their hands.
Yeah.
Period. Honestly, truthfully,
it's like joining the army.
It's a lot of blood on your hands to be a part of. Like regardless if you think you're part of it, what you are a part of has a lot of blood on their hands. A lot of unanswered, like people's family members are gone, and you can't say, oh, I'm a good cop.
But I feel like their retort would be, so should I not feed my family? Should I not do what I wanted
right.
to do
Should
my
I not live
life?
here?
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, I feel like just living here, period, is a compromise as a black person. But hey, that's why you can't, I'm just because I don't agree with your occupation, I'm going to go, oh, I'm not talking to you. But I'm definitely going to tell you how I feel. It is what it is because it just is what it is. But everyone's going to get it how they feel. But don't act like.
Just like. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Don't act. I just don't. I feel like people don't want to admit what they're really doing. They don't want to be accountable because they're trying to live. They're trying to do the moral side of it, and they're just seeing only their moral side and not others. As long as other people are suffering and not them, and people immediate to them, it's all right. And so
and
that's why I would never be.
What
sorry.
it really is, now you good. What it really is for me, just like what I said earlier. If you yourself are trying to feed your family, say like me and you are having a conversation, you're a cop.
Right.
It's still an individualist effort that you're trying to do. You are trying to feed your family. I'm talking about the organization that you work for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not faulting you for feeding your family. It may be the way you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not putting food in your kids' mouths. Like, you feel me? Just realistically, I can't force you to quit your job because I don't agree with it. But if I did have something to say, it'd be more so about the union you work for and not necessarily about your individual work as a cop.
Right.
Because you could want to be all you could be. You could be the best. You could be the cleanest cop there ever was. You still work for a bad. Bad police force, or you still work for the police. You still work under capitalism, realistically. So,
is there any hope for change within that industry? Do you think there is possible at this point
I
with
I,
You
all
don't
this
want to
blood that's
hear.
been spilled?
I
You
just
don't want to hear
I just
my side.
I
I
just
do.
Revolution.
I
what
just
I
feel
think.
like at this point,
What's next?
I feel like at this point, and
I don't think black people are even ready for what's next, to be honest with you. And I don't even think it's a factor of if we're going to be ready or not. But I don't know if everyone who wants to revolutionize and, you know, get back the resources that are owed to us, you know, that have been taken to us. I don't think they understand what's coming next. They're not looking at the bigger picture or how we're going to sustain, how we're not going to become them. And that's all I'm going to say.
You don't think violence, right? You think violence is next?
I think
Silence.
I feel like
I think whatever I think whatever needs to happen, it needs to be the right thing. I personally can't say violence is going to be the next thing. I could say that it could be boiling up to that, but who's to say that one day, just like how we think one day it's gonna be violence, who's to say that one day somebody really might come up with a different political ideology, or somebody might not want to follow global capitalism, globalization, imperialism, Zionism, anything,
right.
any of those isms. You feel me? Like when we stop adhering, when we stop becoming so assimilated to the system, you feel me? I feel like that's when things will change.
Just
I don't feel
be
like
truly
it
independent?
needs. I don't feel like I don't feel like it
and
needs.
not to whites, but just our own self, like
Yeah.
you know, because I feel like also black people they think of success and just getting to the bag, quote unquote, is equivalent to like what white people have, and I just kind of want us to get past that and
I want
make our
all
own.
poor people to not.
Exactly.
I want poverty to end.
Hmm.
I want capital. I hate to get into a political rant, but capitalism needs to end. Like you could read about it. You could look at the statistics. I mean, you could read books, whatever. In the greatest efforts, like poverty's getting worse. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like it's not
Mhm.
getting better. Even with all the technological advances, quote unquote, like poverty's getting worse. So
And prisons are growing. I was looking up
Exactly.
that prison, that Brooklyn detention center
Yeah,
that they're
New
having
Heat.
that protest. Yeah, I was just going on a little research rant with them last night. And first of all, they started off in 1980 with 24,000 inmates. They now have over 220,000 inmates. That's what it says for the federal,
crimes.
yeah, no, for the federal center.
Mm.
There's a Brooklyn Detention Center for the federal, that private organization.
Yeah.
That's what it's grown to be. And this also, or this detention center specifically, they've also had like a little sex scandal going on with one of their officers where she basically had sex with all of them there, but she ended up getting pregnant for an inmate that killed two officers.
Mm.
And they told on her, and she got fired, lost her job. They took the child, but none of the other officers that work in that detention center were removed. They all still work there.
Mm.
What the fuck? That's very dirty.
Yeah.
Right. I also looked up the story of the guy who impregnated her. His name is Ronell Wilson, and he was set up by two undercover cops during a gun sale, and they said that he killed them during the gun sale.
And this is just Google. Like you can just Google this information.
Mhm.
It's there.
It's right there.
Who would know?
Well, if you go to the facility, if you go to the detention center right now, the site, the one that they're protesting, it says that all visitations are canceled.
That's nuts. I was thinking in my head about what we could do as a people. Would you guys agree that just owning our own shit and just building our own businesses and brands and just getting our own money is like a viable solution? Like, is that
Our own economy is
I
just
think-
how
is that just a
because we've had it before. We've had our Wall Street. We've attempted it. We've attempted the.
like that's what I'm trying to do for myself personally. I'm trying to
think it's
build my
possible.
own.
I think it's possible. It's just
Sustaining.
when
Yeah.
it's just when now when I think about, like, this is an amazing question, you guys, by the way. But now when I think about the shit that you ask, I think about this book we just I'm in a book club, and we just
That's dope.
yeah, word. We just read How Europeans Underdevelop Africa. That's what it was. And when you think about how many ports that like the systems that we're against, if you think about all of the things that they own as far as trade, as far as military, as far as any of those things, we have to not only be independent, but there's gonna be things that we need to take back. You know what I'm saying? Not for us, and we have to stop saying it's for us, for all people, because that's what we want. We don't want anything for us. Just like how how capitalists came up. They thought shit was for them, so they decided to take control of a lot of things and keep it for themselves and not like divvy it out to people. No, what we want to do is make everything for everyone. Just like how like this is just like a loose comparison, but feminism is just about equality for women. It's about everyone being equal. Like you see how the two things could kind of change. Like if I say just women, you thinking oh it's just women. No, everyone is supposed to be equal.
So
man
we
to
shouldn't
woman,
keep
woman
it
to man.
centered on just black people. We have to acknowledge.
I mean,
everyone.
we're gonna have to.
Especially-
We might have to. We're gonna have to start it. Colored people will have to start it. Of
Colored
course.
people, not
Yeah.
just black people.
We will have
just-
to start it.
Sorry,
Of course.
yeah,
but-
people of color.
Yeah.
Nah, you.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Shit. It's a language, man.
Yeah.
Like all the shit. I feel like a lot of the shit that we're going through now is new to us. Like think about our lives in the 2000s. We weren't. How many stories did you hear about on the news at least of kids getting gunned down by cops? I mean, you hear about the Diallo situation.
Too many.
Yeah. You hear a couple of them, but it was happening like wildfire in our generation.
Under
And
Obama administration.
yeah, word.
That everyone likes to praise.
And the way we reacted to it, honestly, and I don't know how y'all feel, but I didn't think we was going to do a lot of what we did, the protests, and even though some things of Black Lives Matter could be sketchy, but the protesting and everything, just being outspoken, I didn't think our generation was going to be responsible for shit like that. If I had to be honest,
I don't
you
know.
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
protesting.
Nah. I'm saying
I was ready.
I'm indifferent about protesting.
I'm not talking about protesting specifically.
Why
Yeah,
you
but
indifferent? I'm interested.
I'll let you continue.
No,
You're
I
wrong.
mean, everybody plays a role, but I just feel like a lot of just boycotting shit. Even I hate the term because I feel like it's annoying in my head. Even cancel culture has a purpose. You feel me? Just looking at things from a different perspective instead of fandom. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
even with people like R. Kelly, with people wanting to cancel R. Kelly. You want to actually,
Sure.
of course, you want to ask yourself why, instead of saying people cancel R. Kelly. You have to ask yourself why. Why would they say that? You know what I'm saying? Like now when you dig into why they would say it, you think about his victims. Oh, well, his victims never matter. Why would they come out now? Then you kind of want to dig deeper into that because why would they want to come out now? It can't be for money because there's too many of them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's stupid. Just like with the Bill Cosby situation, everybody was talking about money before. How would they divvy that up with all those women? You know what I'm saying? That's fucking retarded. But I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but all in all, just a lot of the efforts that we made to be more open about the things we don't like in this country, I didn't think our generation was going to be the ones to do it. Maybe I thought my little cousin generation was going to do it, but I didn't think it would be us. So it was a.
We're the coming of
we
the
got
internet.
we got a lot of work to do though. Yeah,
We
got
were
a lot
like
of work
the
to do.
last bit. Like my brother, he's about
I'm
to turn
still learning.
18. He doesn't know about putting in an AOL CD and not being on the phone and on the internet at the same time because
Sometimes
it
I miss
wasn't
those
happening.
days.
Yeah, for
Me
real.
too. That was
Sometimes,
fun.
yeah.
That was fun, and just going outside. Like no kids can't play outside because no one's outside to play with. They don't have a choice. Kids are nowadays they're watching other kids play on YouTube. Like they're not even playing the games. They're watching YouTube games of other people
video
playing
games
games. That's different. That's very different. I'm really watching like my little brother, he's 4. He pretends that he's like playing these video games on YouTube. Like YouTube is like their thing. And
May I answer your question about?
yes, why you feeling different about protesting?
I just feel if we put that same amount of effort into actually doing something instead of standing
Organizing.
for hours out in the cold with these signs, and some of these people who show up to these rallies just show up for a moment to be able to tweet about it and be like, I was there.
Some of them get paid.
Yeah, that too. And I just feel like if we put that effort into and put money up, we could actually make a real change instead of just staying outside with these fucking cheap signs.
I agree.
True.
And to your point, I was just telling her
That
this.
worked back in the day, not now.
Yeah, I was just telling her this earlier too. Angela Davis has a couple of things on Spotify. Just in case you want to listen to anything for Black History Month, you can literally look up Angela Davis' name on Spotify, and she has a lot of her stuff up there. But anyways, she was just talking about prisons, and the people in this one town raised money for the people for their state to make a prison there for jobs. So if we can put those type of efforts towards prisons for jobs, which doesn't really help anyone because more prisons means more laws means more prisoners.
Mhm.
Like prisons don't create better people; they create more prisoners.
Mhm.
So if just like what you said, I agree. If we put those efforts towards our communities, and I'm not talking about like the Walgreens and I'm talking about like we're literally building our own shit from the ground up. We could call it whatever the fuck we want to.
Yeah.
And it'll be our own money, our own economy. We'd have to do it like that. But I feel like
We feel trapped.
it's so many variables. You know, you could be black owned, white funded. You could be you could have a you could have a
Exactly.
business that was originally white owned. You could be a black CEO. It's so many different ways people think that they can do it. But just to our point, or just to all of our points, I think the only way we can do it is if we just separate ourselves. Maybe we won't have the iPhones that we have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
We
I feel
need
like
a
in this
place to
time we
go
need
though.
engineers. We need engineers, builders. We need people like that in this time. You know what I'm saying? Technicians. You know,
Also,
shit.
to your point about protesting, let's not say that it's not effective because it definitely has been effective. We just finished talking about the Brooklyn Center. You know, if they didn't protest and do all of those things, the state wouldn't have been able to get them heat or get anything going. So it is bringing awareness. It is causing a media. You know, we're controlled by the media, so it is causing some type of shakeup and it's causing conversation. You know what I'm saying? The protesting, it's not having the same effect as it was before. Nowhere near. It's not even the same, but it's still causing awareness in the like internet. You know, it's like a physical thing that you can do, even though you may not. You could go to these protests, but then you're meeting other people that are like you. From
Yeah.
there, you're building the organization. So it's something physical other than being on the internet and talking about it or saying, "Oh, let's do this, guys." At least at the protest, you're meeting other people. It's more of it's a different atmosphere protesting now, but I still feel like it's effective in a certain way because it's bringing awareness to certain situations, and then things are happening after it.
I know
So.
those things take a lot to organize, so I take back what I said. It's not. I made it seem like it's like I kind of made it seem like it's like pointless, but it's not.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's
I
not.
apologize for that.
No,
But
Right.
go ahead.
Nah, you good. We're like just like what I said earlier. Like we're all learning how to utilize our own gifts because that's what you want to do too. You don't want to, just like what you said. You feel like protesting would be weird to you, or it's just not something that you feel like would be necessarily your role.
I'm more of a doer. Like I want to
Exactly.
build
I
and
understand.
create. Like
I understand
you.
that. Prospectively, to some people, protesting is doing.
Mhm.
But just like what I said, just like what you said about individualizing like our money and everything. I feel like the way you can think about it, you can figure out better ways to do that, and then you can meet the people that's protesting at a crossroad. You feel me?
Yeah.
Y'all protesting, but you let them know, hey, my homie over here is doing something. Hey, my homie over here is doing something. I do that, like, is doing something, and he's trying to get people of color together. He's trying to get people that struggle anywhere together. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like we need more people that know how to how to get the right paperwork and know how to write. We need more writers, more black
need more
writers coming
readers.
for it, that too.
I'm working on
more readers breeds more writers.
I'm working on my first book right now.
Yes, congratulations.
that's dope.
It's been-
What's that about?
We interviewing you now.
Mhm.
This is dope. I don't have a title yet, but I'm classifying it as a personal dictionary.
Mhm.
So each chapter is a word, and it'll have the actual definition, my personal definition, and then my experiences or thoughts on that word.
That's dope.
That's cool. I like the organization.
Yeah,
of that.
I was actually gonna ask like if you guys had a word, one word to describe you. I was gonna use that in my book.
I'm vibrant.
Vibrant.
I said that so dead. I'm vibrant.
This
You're
get,
making me really think about
this
this.
gets
man.
people,
I'm
like-
I'm too technical for this shit. This is one word too.
there's many words that exist. It's hard.
I say present.
Hmm.
Like I'm here. You feel me? Like even when I may be mad at some shit, I'm still here. Even when I may be happy about some shit, I'm still here. Like
Vibrant and present. I will definitely use those. I feel like we pretty much established like there's no linear trajectory to life itself.
nah.
How do y'all remain focused each day to wake up and do what y'all love to do?
Oof. It's routine. The trick to life is routine, and I'm still getting it down packed. But I'm definitely feeling the difference of when I don't do the routine, if I don't meditate, if I don't work out, whatever it is, it just us working out together in itself, that also like the day feels so much better. But it's just all about learning those things that are your reset. You need to learn your reset as an adult, and how to process what's going on and not internalizing it. You have to like learn how to be your own medicine. Figure out what your medicine is every single day, but still give it to yourself, because those days that you don't give yourself that medicine, that 10 minutes that you needed to stretch, or the blunt, your tea,
I'm slowly getting back into that life slowly.
Yeah.
Listen, that blunt, your tea, just those things that bring you back to your frequency, because we're consuming so much and we're vibrating on different frequencies because we're always moving. Right. So just like getting back to yourself, I feel like that keeps you calm and not feeling like you're losing it. And we're working on that this year. I'm trying to like hone in on that, like for real, especially because he's been teaching me Muay Thai. So now we're like sparring in the house randomly. Like,
y'all could kick some ass.
Oh yeah.
Y'all ready for war? No wonder you ready for violence, because you ready.
Yo, actually, just to go off on answering your
How
question.
You know I was ready for violence?
The Muay.
I didn't even say anything.
I only wanted. Well, I've always wanted to learn Muay Thai. I've always wanted to learn martial arts. Period. Martial arts. What am I from California? But Muay Thai was the first one that came to me, and I honestly want to teach it to black women, black gay people, and black trans people, because just like what we saw with the situation with the actor, I can't even think of his name.
Jussie Smollett.
Jussie Smollett. He was attacked for being a gay black man. You feel me? And I have a gay uncle who got attacked in New York. I think it was in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken, but he got beat up by some niggas in New York. So even though I feel like straight males or just men with that ego just shouldn't be attacking them, period, I do want them to be able to defend themselves when those situations arise. But back to what you said about waking up, just the thing that helps me wake up. I mean, I told her this too. I had this mentality after my best friend passed away, that I had nothing else to lose. Like him and a couple other friends who I wanted to build music with after he passed away, it kind of like he was like one of the main ones in my ear, just like bouncing ideas off. We lived in the same complex, so it was like constantly bouncing ideas off each other, and I felt like it just all dropped off after that. So just feeling like I didn't have anything else to lose within myself, her, music, my family, everything, you know, and waking up, just like getting back into my spirituality, just feeling wolf spirited. Like, you always wake up hungry. Wolves don't never stop eating. Wolves never stop moving either. So just keeping that mentality, you know what I'm saying? Even if I'm not doing Muay Thai, like, I just got my notebook from my mother's house, so now I'm writing a comic right now, and I'm just trying to progress in doing that. I'm just doing something, like trying to always keep myself active, keep myself present. That's why I kind of use that word, because no matter if I'm sitting on my ass, you feel me, I'm doing something. Like, I'm watching a video, like, it's Black History Month. Shout out to Black History Month. It's Black History Month, and I'm watching videos of Stokely Carmichael right now. I'm also making a playlist on Spotify for everyone to be able to look at. It's Angela Davis on there. Mumia Abu-Jamal is on there. Fred Hampton is on there speaking about socialism. So it's a lot of different things going on for the month, but just motivating myself to keep those things up, and that my best friend would be pretty pissed if I wasted this. You know what I'm saying? If I wasted all the good things that I have in my life right now, no matter what adversity I face. Whether it be capitalism or trying to get a job, or trying to be a talented rapper when it's people like 6ix9ine.
There's no more 6ix9ine.
Oh yeah, no more 6ix9ine. When it's
I feel like they ironically gave him that 47 years to be funny, because you know in 47 years he's gonna be 69.
I don't know if he's even gonna do that. Like, he snitched.
I said that to that to her too.
He's not. But they was being funny.
Never do.
They're definitely being funny. He's not gonna do that time.
I really appreciate both your answers. Damn, like, that just had me stuck.
You gotta motivate yourself too.
Yeah.
Like yo, as much as you want to look outside to everything, you have to really, like. I used to be a pessimist, so everything that I wanted to do, I doubted. But now it's like,
and that used to drain me. Back in the day, because I was like.
And it's funny.
The
too.
opposite.
I was always the person that go, oh, I don't want to be around because I feel like the things that I'm going through, my own internal battles would affect her, and she'd be like, "Nah, they not," and I'm like,
I was
"Nah,"
lying.
and I know, and I'm like, "Nah, I
I was
know."
in love.
You just have to, but you also
Still
have
love,
to
but,
know
you know.
yourself. You feel me?
Mhm.
Like you also have to be able to say, "Yo, I need to take a fucking step back." And like realize what the fuck I'm doing. Like you need to be able to be in a relationship. It takes two to tango, and if my feet not moving right, then the dance is off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I really love that quote that Will and Jada just put out, and it was about just making sure that your happiness is coming from you. That is like so important, because once you put that on someone else, like it's just selfish.
It's like
It really is
expectation.
selfish.
It's a lot of expectation.
It's like that was so on point, and especially when you live with someone, like you really need to make sure that you're still fulfilling yourself and building yourself, and not attaching everything to your partner. You got to really have a strong sense of self, and once you keep that, I just feel like you guys would never really ever get tired of each other, because you're like you're both growing.
That's very mature, because regardless of what people say, relationships you losing time by spending time together, right? So the time you can spend working on your passion is spent with your lover. So I think that's really mature of you two to be able to separate and still.
I mean, it
come
took
back
us
together.
a while. It took us a while. It wasn't.
A little while. Like it wasn't. It
It's
wasn't
the will
instant.
to understand.
It wasn't. That's the most important part, honestly. Just wanting to build something with someone and not being so egotistical, not being so stubborn, not being so I don't want to do this. You feel me? Especially when you know what you want. Like not just a person. Like I knew I wanted to be with her. You feel me? But especially knowing how you want it. You feel me? Like, why wouldn't you build that with someone? Of course, the person, like, who's to say the person that you meet is going to know everything you want and how you want it? You feel me?
Right.
Why? And if you feel like the person that you're with right now is a person that you can help them understand what you want and how you want it, why not go for it? You feel me? So it's just not being that shy person. Like,
for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like just not being shy and not being timid to the occasion. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad I could break you out of that.
You know what's
That's
got
my
me
favorite part.
out of my shyness? I've literally forced myself to do this podcast.
What's
right?
your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Interesting.
September.
October 17th. I've literally ingrained myself in like this. I'm forcing myself to be extroverted, right? So this is my first time meeting you. I was very nervous on your way here.
Really?
Yeah, because like meeting new people is just always awkward.
It is weird.
So what I've done to get over my shyness is just force myself into these extroverted situations. And what also keeps me going each day is knowing that I have people in my life that didn't believe. Like some of my best friends did not believe in my vision for this show and for everything else I have going on. So that's really what fuels me every day and keeps me going. Because I can't give them that satisfaction of seeing me lose.
Oh, yeah. Love a challenge. Like, what?
You
Doubt? Thank you.
You want to know to your point?
Thank you.
I wish that I thought. That's the thing. I wish I thought of people like that. But one thing that pushes me is that I've doubted. I don't even hear people. I don't even hear doubters outside. Yeah. I've doubted myself so much. There's nothing nobody could tell me. I have a lot to prove to myself.
Your voice is the loudest.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing though. You feel me? Because sometimes it's like, you see me now in a situation, and it's like, no, nobody, that motherfucker don't care. Like, they never did. That was the point. They never did. That's why they showed that lackadaisical feeling to what you were passionate about.
Right.
But just, like, doing everything, like, to prove myself wrong, like, because I've had too many doubts. Like, way too many doubts. So that shit is always important, man. That shit is always important.
You guys feel free to not answer anything after this question, but I want to get into like the mental health topic as far as like depression and anxiety. Do you either have a history of that?
Anxiety,
depression, either or?
I suffer from anxiety big time.
I can say I had an episode of depression for about the full 365 after my best friend passed, but just like staying at I do like breathing techniques now too. Nadi Shodhana personally is my favorite, but that helps with my anxiety. That helps me think straight. I used to meditate a lot and shit. I don't do it now, but I feel like a lot of the prayers and meditations that I have done, they still sit with me now. So that's how I'm able to use that energy and push forward. You feel me? Like,
still need to meditate.
Meditation for me is when I'm asleep.
Got to.
Word, you feel me? But I just want to take on it. It's just, to your point, it's just a different form of meditation I want to be on. You feel me? Especially because I lost it the way I did. I don't want to lose it the same way in any type of situation. But back to the mental health thing. Having breathing techniques, doing having hobbies that you legitimately like to do. You feel me? I love to play fucking video games. Like, I mean, I like to eat French fries is like a comfort food for me, bro. Like,
Bro, truffle fries, those are the best. The best.
Wow. You brought it back. I haven't
man,
had truffle fries in a minute.
it's just
I
fire.
need Chick-fil-A truffle fries.
I asked about the mental health mostly because you both are artists, and I feel your art definitely helps people get through. Like, I mean, your music is really great. Like, in that moment when I first heard it, it definitely got me through the rest of my day. Brought back to my childhood in a way.
Mm.
So I was curious, like, what you do to escape from those moments of anxiety and depression. Is it when you create, or when you're together, or like what do
It's
you?
a
What do you do?
Oh my
combination.
god, it's definitely a combination. First, I need a hug from him,
Mm.
and then I like absorb like the energy of like his warmth that it's okay. Like he brings me back to you're not alone. It's okay. You have the support, and then I take from there and go do whatever I have to do and do my work. So he's a plus,
Hmm.
but and I think I could speak for him too that I'm a plus, but we're all. But at this, what I was trying to say is that you have to have your own practices. I need to step out the room. I need to be in a separate space to, get myself together and not have anything like around to distract me. That's how I keep myself sane because I suffer from anxiety. Just I don't live in the present. He does. I don't. I think about ahead of time so much. Almost to the point that I ignore the process and that I don't enjoy the process to things because I'm so on the end result. I'm such a future visual.
Futures.
Yes, I visualize things in the future so much, and I'm always right for the most part, and it causes a lot.
Sometimes.
When it comes to things that I think about in the future that may happen, I'm usually right. There's things that I'm wrong about now. Like if I can assess something right now and be wrong, but usually what I'm thinking about what's gonna happen in the future after I've already assessed it, I'm always right. That's what I would say, and that gives me anxiety because it's like I have to remember to get out of my own way and not to control any situation, to just release and just like be and just like trust,
Right.
and just I overthink a lot and
Same.
just it's a lot. And playing catch up with yourself can also drive you a little bit crazy. And money issues don't make anything better. And I feel like also that affects me. I've like tried to separate money issues from like my mental health because it's just a piece of paper. And I've noticed that I put so much value on it because I just, I grew up I wasn't able to ask my mom for things. Like she gave me a hard time. So I was like, well, you ain't giving it to me. I'm gonna go get it. So I was always the type of person to have like two jobs and just always finding a way to hustle to get money. Like that's just always been my thing since I've been 15. So like now that I'm kind of leaving the whole 9 to 5 job thing or just working for someone and I'm on my own, I'm like going through the bumps and trials of things and I'm getting anxiety. It's like I'm not dead broke, but it's different and I'm like literally monetizing myself, and it gives me a lot of anxiety that I'm constantly putting myself out there every single day, and I feel like a lot of people around me don't understand how much I got to show up, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I don't show up for them, but it's like it's because I'm struggling to really show up all the time every day for myself, like with everything, with being in school 21 credits, being a performer, being an artist, living on my, just living and still trying to be an adult, just showing up. Everything I do for work is a service. So it's draining. It can be draining. I love it, but at the same time, it's taxing when I don't know, when I'm not exactly sure what the outcome is. But, just learning to release is the way. Just,
I'm a big advocate for self introspection. So do you feel that's like a flaw of yours, like just
oh.
not showing up for certain people, like in those moments?
No, I think I actually show up for people more than I show up for myself, but I beat up on myself a lot, and that's a big flaw of mine that I beat up on myself a lot. I'm just as I'm judgmental to other people, I'm just I treat myself that way. So that's why I try to, when I'm doing these self introspections and I'm checking myself on how I'm judging other people, it's really how I judge myself, and I have high expectations, and certain standards. I think of myself as a god, so I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. I see the potential in others, and I'm like, that pusher. I want to do it. The positive side of me is like very determined, and once I put my mind to it, I'm getting it. So just getting out of my own way and learning how to release and just being like, because when I'm just being is when things are the smoothest. When I'm not trying to manipulate anything or touch anything, everything is perfect and exactly what it needs to be. And that goes for everything that I do: singing, guitar, speaking, just anything. Once I try too much or I'm thinking about it, it becomes too much. But once I'm just, being myself and being, everything flows perfectly. So it's really just learning how to get out of my own damn way.
That's interesting. I was curious what your thoughts are. Have you heard about the documentary about Michael Jackson that aired at Sundance? The 4-hour documentary.
I heard about it, and I heard there was a lot of questionable things involved. I don't know what the context is.
No,
but
tell me.
There was a 4-hour documentary that was premiered at Sundance. I don't know if they premiered the whole thing. It was basically going into, I think, victims of the child abuse were being interviewed, 2 of them actually, and it focused on their lives.
That Michael Jackson abuse?
Yeah. And
so it's true.
And I was just curious if it does come out all this is true about Michael Jackson, will that change?
But what were they saying? They were saying that he was.
There's no details specifically out, but I'm assuming that's what they were talking about.
I'm gonna say this.
Michael Jackson one feels funny.
All of the people,
I always like Prince.
All of the people I hold dear to me are literally close to me. They're like a drive away, and one of them passed away. I have a different view on celebrities now. Like, they're human, so anything that another human could do, they could do. If Michael Jackson did do it, if he did do it, like, if it's 100% true, I can't fuck with Michael for that. I'm sorry. Like, the things that people do in their lives, whether they're dead or alive, it'll always change the view of the people around them. Or not, you feel me? If people choose to not let that, I don't know how. But if people choose not to let that, get to him as far as the viewpoint of Michael, cool. If he didn't do it, whoever made the documentary, shame on them and fuck them. But I gotta see both sides. Gotta see both sides of the table. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I want to watch this first before.
I always want both sides.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it first. I was just curious if you heard about it.
I want to watch it, but I'll tell you about. I was scared of Michael Jackson before he died. Like, he legit just scared me. Period. And I loved his music. You love him, but it's clear he was sick. Yeah. It's clear he was sick. And so you can't put nothing about past people who are sick. And that's just the truth of it. I don't want to, of course we don't want to believe that he's done anything to the kids, especially knowing that he has that childlike heart, that he even speaks the way he speaks. The way
was a kid.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I just feel like that could definitely be misinterpreted and abused, by people because he was childlike, and that could definitely be used against him. That's dangerous.
I always have choices, though.
That's dangerous to be like that. So, like I said, if he did do it, it's disgusting, and that everyone has to be accountable. But it's just kind of, the Michael Jackson thing is kind of sus, especially because he's dead.
Yeah.
So that's different.
You mentioned like cancel culture, like that's Michael would be the newest member alongside R. Kelly.
They were been trying to cancel him though.
Yeah.
They were definitely
like I said, it's
getting at him.
The aspect I don't like the lynch mob aspect of it. The aspect that I do enjoy, the aspect that I do enjoy about it is the fact that it's a conversation at all.
Right.
It was a point where celebrities did not get talked about, where all this shit that's
only the
coming
good
out,
stuff
where all
talked
this shit
about.
that's coming out now, people knew, but nobody talked about it.
Right.
And we get to talk about it now because
Twitter.
It's in film now, exactly, and we have Twitter. It's in film now, so. We need shit like this. I don't think that celebrities, I love Michael, I don't think that celebrities should be put on the pedestals that they are now at all. At all. These platforms that we give them as consumers, as lovers of their music.
Without no proof or any work. Like, you don't know about their their self-work. You don't know about these people. You just know their artistry.
Yeah. Like, that's like when, I'm sure my parents' generation were crushed when they found out African Man Bada was touching that little boy. And then the security guard knew about it and didn't say nothing. Like, it's all generations. You feel me? It's gonna. I feel like it's gonna happen. Not to normalize. I'm not saying that to normalize it. I'm saying it to I'm saying it to let it be known that celebrities can't be put on these pedestals, because then we completely rule out, oh, he would never do that. He's such a, just like with R. Kelly, not us specifically, but it's people that go with R. Kelly. Oh, he made Step in the Name of Love. He made I Believe I Could Fly. And that's their justification for why it's not true. Not anything on the tape, not anything that's actually true, not even information, honestly, but just their fandom holds enough accountability on R. Kelly in their mind that R. Kelly is innocent.
Right.
We need to stop doing that shit. Like
it's also another thing I want to pinpoint. The black community is not trying to put black men behind bars. You know, we already know, and when I say we, I say black women. We already know what the minority is faced with. So yes, it's like a pull and tug with, damn, do I throw him to the system? You know?
All right.
Yes, you do if they deserve it, but
I'm
at
a
the
man,
same
I'm telling
time,
you. Yeah,
it's
I
an
agree.
that's the technical way to think. Honestly, that's honestly a way to think without the emotional part. Like
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Discography isn't that good.
It's not.
Like, compared to Michael's, like
I like you.
I mean, he wrote. R. Kelly wrote "Man in the Mirror."
That's
so
very true, but
That's one song.
It's not
It's
one
not
song.
Thriller,
He's
though.
yeah, right.
true, but R. Kelly is talented. I'm tired of saying it because we all know that. That's why he freaking is thriving. Not even thriving, but still where he's at right
People
now.
still at his shows, like
Yeah.
I
can't
cannot
believe it.
deal.
But you know
we
what?
sold our soul to music almost, kind of, black people, because it's like we know that that's something that we naturally have, and it's like, how dare we knock someone else or take that away from them when you know that we already get that anyway. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's promoting lack of self accountability in the
Yeah.
black community. Period. We lack a self accountability for everything.
Like, I would never
we
say.
joke about everything.
I would
We
never
make everything
say,
a joke.
as a black man, that another
about
black
that.
man shouldn't be jailed because black men are targeted in the system that we're under. That's bullshit. It's bad people. I feel like it's bad people in everything. Even if you look at, even in religion, you feel me? Even in the best religions, Buddhism, anything, there's always bad seeds. In music, there will be bad people. In race, there will be bad people. You could be talented, just like how some people say Hitler was a great painter. He was a fucking
You
horrible.
know, some people,
he
that
was
was
a
Erica.
horrible-
I always
running
heard
her
that.
damn mouth.
He was a hard. She's not the only one.
True.
No, I say that to say she's not the only one that feels that way.
Right.
But he was a terrible person. You could be talented. That don't mean you're not a terrible person. You know what I'm saying? Some
I
people,
don't know how people say they could separate the artist and the talent.
yeah, word.
I feel like there's a fine
If I slap
line,
your
and you
mom,
can,
it's like,
but
nah.
not.
If you're
R.
not hurting
Kelly's.
people, I could do it. Like Kanye, I'm sorry. If with Kanye, he wasn't hurting anybody with his rhetoric. I mean, he
I
was
love Kanye's old stuff.
swaying people's mentalities. I feel, but he's not. He didn't actually hurt people like R. Kelly. And
I feel you.
R. Kelly's
Hopefully
music
Michael
is made
I
from
agree.
creepiness.
It's levels.
So
It's levels. It's
Yeah.
levels.
I'm not about to stop listening to Erica. That's never happening.
Kanye kind of
Please
pissed
don't.
me off because there is something that I do want him and a lot of people that follow him to take seriously. When you like chime into battles like that, I understand what you're saying about Democrats. I understand what he said about Democrats. But you don't go to the Republicans. Like, there's always I don't fuck with either of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always that option. You feel me? Like, and it was just moments where it was really disappointing for him to say that, like, a MAGA hat made him feel like powerful.
Superman,
like,
Batman, whatever.
Like, what?
Man, Kanye done did opioids, so
I mean, who?
gotta say.
He's openly said he doesn't
Goodbye.
even read. So like when he was speaking about most of this shit, he's like, "How do you know?" Like,
But think about
talking.
this. Kendrick Lamar said he don't read, and people fuck with him. So I mean, he did have something
He
in the
said
past.
that?
He did. Yes, he did have something in the past. He had
Damn,
something. He had something in the past where he said something about Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. And he also like admittedly said that he doesn't read. So it's like, I hate to say this right now, but literally we need more book clubs. Like, honestly, for Black people.
bro, how do I join
like
yours? I've been wanting to get into
Yo,
this like
honestly,
that.
this
Go
one
ahead.
this one just got full for the book that we're about to read. But I will definitely keep you posted and stuff. We'll exchange emails or whatever. But I'll definitely keep you posted because I myself, I don't know much about anything outside of capitalism. I'm a black man trying to learn just like everybody else, or a black person, a person trying to learn just like anybody fucking else. So like, not knowing anything, I jump into these books. I do my Googles while I'm reading. If I got a notebook, if I gotta write something down, but yo, just putting forth the effort to read and learn, like via reading, like who
Getting
like
addicted to learning
I grew
again.
I grew up I grew up in the hood.
Right.
So it's like street knowledge, quote unquote, ain't just gonna get you there. You feel me? No matter how revolutionary, no matter how tough you think you are, you have to be reading not only just people. Like I'm sure a lot of us in here could look at somebody and go and have like eight out of the 10 things right about a person.
Right.
But to actually read and to actually not just look at it real quick in an article that's like statistics that could be made up or could be something real quick, just actually reading, like that shit helps, bro. That shit helps. Like,
Gotta focus together.
mhm.
I said I made a tweet where I said I wish Asian and Black people can revolutionize together, and ideally, I personally believe that Asian people are the more disciplined people. They're more advanced in terms of just their practices and organization, their culture. They've been here for a very, very freaking long time. They're the first documented civilizations, you know, quote unquote, along with
We're
Black.
the first document.
Right, you know, quote unquote, along with African people. So that's why I say African people and Asian people, ideally, can collaborate, but we would literally have to get our shit together. Like it's kind of in a way like we will have to be proving
I wouldn't
to
blame
them.
us too much for that though. I mean, we did have to deal
We
with
have to though.
we
We
did
have
have to deal
to.
with. They didn't have to deal with chattel slavery. That I'm saying there are variables here. Like you don't want to.
Of course, there's variables, but there's opportunity here that we need to recognize and we need to step up to the plate to do. And we have the capabilities to do it. It's just that they're not
I'm
going
gonna make her
to.
read the book I just read.
They're interested in our Asian people are very interested in African resources and our ideas, and they don't have the same mentality as white people in terms of exploitation and colonialism. They're trying to also benefit to themselves, but they don't hate us, I should say.
Of course.
So I just feel like if we were to show them that we can be organized and show them something a little bit different, I feel like they would be so. Look at the Black
We need to
Panther
show
movie.
each other.
Look at that collaboration.
We need to show each other things.
That was literally. Did you see the credits? That was literally an Asian African collaboration, Black Panther. And look how that shit blew up.
I will say, from my perception of Asian people, they are like as equally unified as Black people are becoming. So I think that would be the ultimate unified front.
Like,
Yeah.
woo!
Yeah.
They're like
That's
it.
very interesting. Damn.
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't think
it.
about that.
You know, if we were to, I just feel like we have some things to pull together that I feel like they would be like, okay, we can do this, because I feel like they're on our side, but we haven't like proven ourselves kind of like on our own, and they have.
I don't think we have shit to prove to Asian people, but
No, I'm talking about
there's
in terms
I
of
know.
collaboration.
I'm being technical.
I know.
But I just feel like the crossroad that we need to meet at. First of all, there's a lot of Africa ex-China history. There's a lot of Black ex-China history. Like Mao himself, you feel me, spoke highly of a lot of the Black revolutionaries in America. A lot of what Asia is, like just even having their own socialist groups. A lot of our revolutionaries, the Angela Davises, the Stokely Carmichaels, yada yada, they had their own communist and socialist groups. So I think we need to be drawing those similarities, like, and I think that will help us escape from whatever we're going through with capitalism. You feel me? So I don't know, like even and not to even go off on a tangent, but even when I think about how I'm just learning about socialism. And I don't know if you heard about what's going on in Venezuela. There was a coup. So there was a coup in Venezuela, and some president came along and just decided he was going to be president because Maduro, who's the president now, he economy-wise wasn't doing good. Like they live in extreme poverty. That's the U.S. This is also the U.S.'s fault. The CIA's fault more specifically.
Right.
And they're living in poverty, and the blame is on the socialist president. So Donald Trump and Pence, you can look this up, and Donald Trump and Pence backed this coup, backed this president, and to just claim he wanted to be president now, and and that ultimately is killing the socialist efforts. Now, sometimes I ask myself, why would they want to do that? You know what I'm saying? That kind of draws me towards getting along with Asian people, because I mean, China's a socialist country. China's also trying to take over Africa right now, or the resources. Maybe not. When I say take over, I don't mean like,
hey, we're
like
coming
we want
in.
everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I
We're
mean, like,
killing you.
to take over the resources. I said I want her to read the book that I just read, because there is a lot of information there where they talk about China giving resources to Africa and not wanting anything in return, or giving them resources and not asking for much in return, just loyalty or anything, just to help an allied nation. You know what I'm saying? So I think, just agreeing with what she said, Asians and black people of color could definitely lead the front. That'd be
That
beautiful.
literally blew my mind. I didn't think
That'd be
about that
beautiful.
until
That'd be
today.
so nice. So
That's-
nice.
Let's pray, right?
Yeah.
Two more questions and we can get out of here. Let's say tomorrow both of you wake up with blue checks on every form of social media. Who was the first person you're DMing to collaborate with, or even just have a conversation with?
TDE.
Damn, man, why you gotta take my shit? More specifically, Soul, man. I think that's probably my favorite artist of all time. If I wasn't to talk about artists, though, I'd want to talk to Angela Davis. I've been just listening to her speak on Spotify, honestly, has been really inspiring, and just being able to hear, and she talks about women prisons a lot. Like, she talks about what women go through a lot, because she is a woman, a black woman at that. And it's interesting to read about someone who shares similarities from her perspective. Even though Angela Davis is a light-skinned black woman, she's still a black woman and probably put in more work than a lot of people darker than her, let's be honest. Just reading about that perspective is so interesting to me as a black man, because I'm that's not what I'm taught. You feel me? Like, I'm not taught to learn that. I'm taught to learn about black man being the head of everything, you know, and I just feel like we as a whole just need to be listening to black women more, not just saying it and tweeting it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely talking to Angela Davis. Or Elaine Brown, another Black Panther. Very, very dope.
He loves Black
individuals.
Panthers.
Yeah, I love him.
I'm talking to Jill Scott. I need to talk to her. I need to have a couple of conversations with Auntie Jill. I definitely need to go hit up Mary. I'm like, girl, we need to meet up, because you've been my little spirit animal for forever, and that's it. I'm not interested in trying to like put myself in place. Like, I'm just want to talk to the people that really influence me.
If I had a blue check, I'd just make sure my brand is
and
taken off.
and then
that
exactly,
for
and
both of
working on
y'all.
myself. Like, I'm not really interested in trying to meet any of these industry people, to be honest with you. I'm not. I don't care.
I don't see the blue check as like standard for success, but
I know.
I do see
I get it.
I see y'all
Listen,
growth like in the
Listen,
very
if
future.
you've been on Twitter for a minute, man, you know how that blue check makes your tweets go from here to
Doing
here.
Yeah.
And if you're using
Especially
your
with your
platform, and if
brand.
you're using your platform the right way, of course, but the way you want to do it, it could work out for you like 100%. You feel me?
Right. And what are y'all goals individually and collectively for 2019?
We gotta do a song together.
We
I
have
have-
songs that we need to
That we need
lay
to
down.
Wait,
record.
y'all
We
haven't done
have
anything
songs. No,
musically?
we
No.
have them, but we just haven't recorded them.
Oh man.
Off of like, you just so much funding, and you gotta. It's a lot that goes
Yeah.
into when you're funding your own stuff. It's
Yeah.
a lot, but it's gonna happen. Definitely this year, it has to.
Do
Because
y'all like record in house, like at the studio?
no, I mean, we've just been we live together, so just creating. He's just like, oh, I'm doing this song, and then I'll just like create my part, and that's just how it like comes out.
As far as we need to start recording together, I had a different opinion on recording together, only because I thought that singers, I know that some singers and rappers do not record with the same mics, the same mixing
That
or
too.
anything. But I'm willing to sit down with if an engineer is experienced enough, I'm willing to sit down with them, and while me and her sit in studio with them, and then
Give
we
you
work on
information to one in Elizabeth. If that too far from y'all?
I probably know
Cerebral
Cerebral.
Sound Studio.
Is that on the Ave?
Can't recall the exact address. It's one of my friends though. It's a really great studio and
I'll
they're
definitely take
professional.
down
I'll
the
give you.
info.
I'll give it to y'all.
Word.
Oh, that'd be dope.
And we have a segment on this podcast that I usually forget because I always save it for the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's called "Don't Sleep." So basically, everyone who has a microphone would just say something that people shouldn't sleep on, whether it be themselves, certain foods,
Can we
certain
say a
songs.
couple things?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I got some shit loaded up.
What shouldn't people sleep on?
Man, don't sleep on them Lakers. Um, never sleep on yourself. Never sleep on your intuition.
Hmm.
Don't sleep on your dogs, your homies. Don't sleep on your girl. Don't sleep on love. Never sleep on French fries. It's the best thing in the world.
Sweet potatoes are okay.
Ooh, sweet
But-
potato.
And don't sleep on this music.
Hey.
Don't sleep on your glow up. Don't sleep on black love.
Mm.
Don't sleep on revolution. Don't sleep on yourself. Period. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Do you? And as I feel like, oh yeah, and practice. Don't sleep on practice. Don't sleep on practice. Practice is success. Someone asked me the other day what success is to me. Practice. Because if you're practicing, how are you not improving? You're getting closer and closer to success. As long as you're practicing, you're there.
Word up.
So
Don't
that's
sleep
it.
on your resolve.
Don't try one up me.
Nah. I
It's-
just had that. I just had that in my head.
I don't know. I think that's it.
I've learned today not to sleep on Google because y'all educated me on so much stuff that I can easily just Google.
Yeah,
Man, he got me in. Honestly,
But-
I was a Google master before, but he really got me into Googling. Man, you don't meet a lot of men. Well, I don't meet a lot of men that make me want to be more intelligent. I'm like, I thought I was smart.
I just.
And he
just
kind of
being-
like challenges me to be like, okay, I like this. This is cool.
I feel like my grandmother had a lot to do with that. She was a big supporter of the Black Panthers. Asada Shakur's damn, I don't know why I can't get the word right now. But where they were holding Asada Shakur's
New Jersey.
court meet
Turnpike.
court meeting
The
whatever.
detention center.
Yeah, where they had her.
Her
It
hearing.
was in New Brunswick. Yeah, where they had her hearing. What
Mhm.
the fuck? I don't know why I couldn't get that out. Where they had her hearing,
Gotcha.
it was in New Brunswick. You feel me? And my grandmother was there, and she just always embedded in me just being like different, and just always wanting me to read. Like my grandmother wants me to learn the language that the ancient Egyptians spoke, type shit. Like she's one of those.
That's
so
crazy.
so, but just naturally too, just always seeking out information. Like, I mean, we had a substitute teacher, and this is probably the most important substitute teacher I've ever had because who listens to them? You know what I'm saying? But he only told us knowledge is power, and he just repeated that shit throughout class. And even though he knew we weren't listening to him, he always said knowledge is power, and that kind of stuck with me. Like, just always wanting to read more. Like, I'm a Virgo too, so I'm also a know-it-all. So like
Yeah, I'm a
naturally,
Taurus.
naturally, I just want to know. Like always, like information is like the universe. Like it just keeps on going. Like it's endless. You can never stop learning. You know what I'm saying?
My goal this year is to graduate. I didn't even get to say my goal because you talked. I need to say that out loud again.
Yeah.
My goal this year is to graduate.
Do you have many credits left to gain?
I have
Don't sleep on your
21
graduation.
credits. Don't sleep on your graduation. Don't sleep on them loans. Okay. Anyway, I have 21 credits this semester and then 16 credits in the winter. So I graduate in the winter. Technically, I'm walking in the fall. I want to have a 10K savings this year. And I need to have at least a visual. Together, we both need to have a savings so that when I do graduate, we could go wherever the hell we need to go or, just move around. But that's my goal this year for 2019 because 2020 is like I'm popping the hell out 2020. I feel like my confidence is going to be exactly where it needs to be to excel.
That's amazing. Would y'all like to shout out your social medias and we can get out of here?
At Bakari.
At Wolf
BEK.
God. Go ahead. You saw me about to say something. Go
No,
ahead.
I was talking first. Bakari, BEKHARI. And and
Nah,
Wolf
she
God.
about to do mine.
And Wolf God.
The Wolf God himself, WULFGOD. There's no hashtags, underscores, none of that shit,
I
man.
didn't know the wolf was spelled with a W, just how you said it. I mean, the U, just after you said it.
Man, he makes up the spelling as he goes, man. I'm telling you.
No, man, Wolf Spirited, man.
Thank y'all so much for coming, honestly.
Thank
like I
you.
said, I was
Thank you
very
for having
nervous.
us.
I was very nervous. Of course, on
We
your
talk
way
a
here.
lot, so I hope you weren't nervous.
Nah, I appreciate everything you had to say. And I definitely learned a lot.
Word.
So
That's good. You taught us some too.
I don't know if
Everything's
that's
a
true,
learning.
but
Now you did.
I like this podcast actually.
You told us-
Introverted intuition.
You
Yeah.
told us to force yourself to do shit that you think you can't do, or you feel like you're shy or whatever. Just be extroverted. Just do it.
Right.
That's the like motto this year. Like, why are you
Even
playing?
though the
Just do it.
questions just raise the flag about things that we probably didn't think about until you asked them. So
Very engaging.
we appreciate you, interviewer.
Of course. Thank you again for coming. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's it.
That was nice.